gonna read and we're gonna talk. We're gonna learn and it's gonna rock. We're gonna answer 3 questions, it's a walk in the park. It's Mr. Clark's Corner, now here's Mr. Clark.
Hi, welcome to Mr. Clark's Corner. So glad to have you with us here today. I want you to think back and think of something that's really important to you, something that you maybe really wanted for a long time and then maybe you finally got it, or maybe you haven't gotten it yet. Or maybe it's something that you didn't know you wanted until you got it, but what is something that either you have that you really love or something that you want that you know you would love if you had it? Now, I want you to imagine, as soon as you get that thing, giving it away. When I was about 11 years old, there was a pair of shoes that I really wanted. It was called the Answer 4s. It was the 4th version of the Answer shoe, a basketball shoe that was a signature shoe of the basketball player Allen Iverson. These shoes were the coolest things ever. I had a buddy who had a pair of red ones, and they were so sweet. I just loved these shoes, and I really wanted a pair of the Answer 4s, but they were pretty expensive and honestly a little bit hard to find, especially in my size at that time. But one year for my birthday, my parents decided to surprise me. And I didn't get really anything else for my birthday that year, but I was able to get a pair of Answer 4s, and they were white with the gray stripe, and they were just absolutely beautiful. I loved them. I couldn't take them off. My parents bought me size 11 and a half, even though I only wore size like 8 at that time. So they were big enough to where I could wear them for a really, really, really long time. Just recently, not too long ago, I got a new pair of Answer 4s that fit me now today, and I just love these shoes so much. But I can't imagine when I was about 11 years old getting this pair of Answer 4 basketball shoes, and as soon as I get them, everything I ever wanted, something I've been wanting for a very long time, and just saying, oh, these are cool. I'm going to give them away now. I can't imagine like something I had wanted that badly for that long, just giving them away. But we talked about a woman named Hannah on Sunday. And that's exactly what Hannah did, but instead of a pair of basketball shoes, Hannah had something much more valuable. So if you want to read in your Bible with me, we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 1. 1 Samuel chapter 1, it's in the Old Testament. We go Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel. And there are actually 2 Samuels, but this is the first one. And we're going to be in chapter 1, and we're going to see the birth of Samuel. And Hannah was married to a man named Elkanah. And Elkanah had a couple of wives, which back then that wasn't weird to have more than one wife. Now it would be super weird and wrong, but back then it wasn't bad. And so one of Elkanah's wives, Peninnah, had many kids, but Hannah didn't have any. And Hannah wasn't able to have kids. And so one year when they were at the temple, Hannah was praying to the Lord. And let's actually read exactly what Hannah had said. Hannah was not happy. She wanted to be a mom. She had wanted to be a mom for so long. And Elkanah loved her, even though she couldn't have kids. But she really wanted to have kids. And so here's what it says in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 11. It says, she, being Hannah, made a promise to God. She said, Lord, you rule over all. Please see how I'm suffering. Show concern for me. Don't forget about me. Please give me a son. If you do, I will give him back to you. Then he will serve you all the days of his life, and he'll never use a razor on his head. He'll never cut his hair. Hannah had been asking and wanting a child for a long, long time. But she wasn't able to have any. And now Hannah is saying she is making a promise. That's our code word for today. Sound, and our code word for today is promise. 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 Write that down on a code word card and put it in the mailbox outside of my office on Sunday to receive points towards your prizes. But Hannah was making a promise to God. She was saying this one thing that I've always wanted, that I've wanted for a really long time, a child, a person, my own son. If you give that to me, I will give him right back to you. And that's exactly what happened. Hannah kept her promise. She had a son. His name was Samuel. And she nursed Samuel for the first little bit of his life. But then as soon as he was done nursing, Hannah took Samuel to the temple. And Samuel lived with the priest Eli for the rest of his days. And Samuel would actually take over the role of priest in the land of Israel, and he would be one of the most important characters in all of the Old Testament. All because Hannah made a promise to God, God blessed her, and Hannah kept her promise. God keeps all of his promises to us. God has promised several things to us, and he continues to follow through on his promise. What are some things that you need to follow through on? Every time you make a promise, you need to be sure when you make that promise that you can follow through on that promise, that you can fulfill it. Every time you promise, make sure you keep your promise. And that's going to bring us to today's 3 questions. Question number 1, is there a promise that you've made that you need to follow through on? Question number 2, when was the last time a friend made a promise to you that they didn't follow through on? Question number 3, what is the greatest promise in your life that God has given you? Well, that's going to do it for Mr. Clark's Corner. I'm Mr. Clark. This is my corner. Adios, amigos.
Okay, we read, alright, we talked. Oh yes, we learned, and you know we rocked. We even answered 3 questions, man, what a fun day. It's Mr. Clark's Corner, I'll see you on Sunday.